music no one can ever refuse it. Pulsating, vibrating, reggae, reggae, reggae. Very sky, rock, steady, mental, a quadrillion, a cool minute.
Okay, good morning to the listeners and viewers of the Real Stuff podcast. Today is Wednesday, and we usually have a featured guest. And today we have with us the Reverend Peter Espeut. And with us also is Flavius, our co-host. So back to you, Flavius.
Yes, Reverend. As you know, next week, Monday, is our next local government election. But I know that a lot of Jamaicans, especially younger ones, don't have a clue about local government election or any election at all. So I know you will shed some light on this whole thing. And I have a few points of my own that I would like to be clarified also.
Right.
So if you could.
Morning, Brother Flavius, and morning, Brother Courtney. And morning to the listeners and viewers on the Real Stuff. Yeah, I suppose the problem is not so much the election, but what is local government?
That's it.
Because it seems that I know where you are calling from, where you are talking to me from. You have many layers of government. You have federal government, you have state government, you have county government, and then you might even have municipal government. I'm not even sure. Ward government, I don't know. And each set of governments has the ability to tax the people. Each different layer of government has power to pass laws or bylaws. And in a sense, federal government has its own arena in which it operates. But in Jamaica, we say we have two. We say we have central government and local government, but yet local government falls under a minister of local government who is part of central government. Local government in Jamaica cannot tax the people at all, and gets all its taxes from. Sorry, William, could you turn back on this one for me, please, where they can see my face? Yeah, sorry, my wife. Hello to my wife.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, how's everybody?
Not bad at all. Thank you. Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
But in Jamaica, local government can't tax, has to go cap in hand begging central government for money. I guess they could pass bylaws. I guess there are bylaws, but they really are part of central government. There's no independent local government. And the truth is that local government cannot do much by itself. So when there's an election for local government, the local government basically is central government issues that are in the campaign, not so much local government. So the man in Prickly Pole, St. Ann, which, as you know, is near to Claremont, near to Alderton. The person in Prickly Pole really cannot do anything by themselves. I guess that must be part of the division, what they call up there again, Benson-Ton division. The MP for Benton-Son can't do anything. They really have to relate to the MP for Southeast St. Ann. And where I am talking to you from now, which is the grill, whoever the councillor is for here has to relate to the MP. Can't get any money unless the MP provides it. So it's really a myth, a fiction, that there's something called local government, which is different to central government.
That is so well put. That is my thoughts, totally, my understanding of it. But before you continue, to get this thing even more clearer, one question, I plan to ask any local government candidate or winner or whatever. Where's your office? And where's your staff? Can you shed some light on that?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because even the MP
Don't
will have a
have
hard time answering that, because the MP
I
will
know.
say, yes, I have an office. There are two offices. There's my office as MP, and then there's my office as my party office, which is in my constituency, which is different to my MP office. But remember, and the parliament, there are three branches of government in the Westminster system of which we are a part. One is the executive, which is the prime minister and the cabinet. And then there's the parliament, which is the second branch of government, which is the MP. And that is called the legislative branch. And then there's the judicial branch, Chief Justice and the other justices. Now, what is the function of the legislative branch? The legislative branch's function is to legislate, to go to parliament, and to pass laws. But the trouble is, I can't think the last time that a legislator in Jamaica, an MP, ordinary MP, had a bill passed through parliament. All the bills that pass through parliament come from the cabinet. The Minister of Health will introduce health legislation. The Minister of Education will introduce education legislation. The Minister of Finance will introduce finance legislation. And what is the ordinary MP to do? Well, they introduce what are called private members' motions. I can't tell when last a private member's motion ever passed. Suppose an MP wants to draft a private member's motion. Which staff do they have to do that? Now, I know that in the US system, every congressman has staff whose purpose is to draft legislation. And they have so many interns and so forth that volunteer to work with congressmen and senators. And they spend their time drafting legislation. And the legislative branch of the US government introduces legislation in whatever it is, the Congress or the Senate or the state or whatever. But in Jamaica, no MP can draft legislation. They have to go to what is called the Office of the Parliamentary Council. And the Parliamentary Council is the only branch of government that can draft legislation. And the Parliamentary Council is attached to central government. So I don't see how we call our MPs legislators. All they do, is when the central government submits legislation and they say, time for a vote, they go bam, 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 and then they vote yes or no, as the case may be, depending on which side they are on. And that's it. So they are really not legislators, they vote. The people that send the legislation to parliament is the executive. So the poor MPs cannot function as legislators. So what do? What they do is they thief the work of the councillor. The councillor is supposed to be the local person. But the MP now, since he doesn't, his job as legislator is taken away by the cabinet. So he goes and takes away the councillor's work. So whereas the councillor is to deal with local issues like water and sewage and even education and health, the MP does that. Councillor don't have nothing to do with that. So it's the councillor's work is stolen by the MP because the MP's work is stolen by the cabinet. So you're asking me the question, what staff the councillor has, and I'm laughing because the councillor has no staff, but then neither does the MP have any staff either. And I'm talking about the secretary and the office cleaner, I'm talking about staff to do what a legislator is supposed to do, which is to draft legislation and pass legislation. So we really have quite a bastardized kind of government system in Jamaica. I'm sorry to say, I hope you don't think I'm bad talking my country. It's really the Westminster system that is this neither fish nor fowl system. And I'm hoping that this constitutional reform process that we are in is going to deal with that. But don't hold your breath. We're just going to get monarchy by a different name, but I digress. I hope I have answered your question by not answering it, or rather I've answered the answer is no, they have none, no staff.
Yeah, because I don't know any MP that has an office or any councillor that has an office.
No, all the MPs have offices. You drive through any town, Claremont, Brownstown, Santa Cruz, and you see office of the, usually you see the party office, office of the PNP office for this constituency. No, the councillor, no, you could be right. I don't know any councillor that has an office. Maybe what the council does is they catch in the corner of the MP's office. And some MPs have offices. There's a budget that central government provides for the MP to maintain a separate office to the office of the party office, the PNP office or the JLP office. But I think you're right. I don't think the councillor has a separate office with separate staff. I think they catch with the MPs. But if the MP is one party and the council is another party, I don't know where they would catch.
Oh, yeah.
But you gentlemen, you know, how you stay so far from Jamaica and see all of this?
No, man,
And ask all of these questions. And
I
we
live in
here in
Jamaica.
Jamaica don't even ask those questions.
No,
I live-
Flavius is living in Jamaica. I am in
I
Florida.
live in Jamaica, you know. I live in St. Mary.
Oh, Flavius, what part of St. Mary, please, Flavius?
A part that you know very well. I live in Enfield.
Enfield,
Yeah.
Junior Pen 41.
I know you know it very well, yes.
Very well, of course.
And my family has
didn't know
been
you
here
were
from enough time. Yeah.
Your family? Well,
Yeah,
my family
lately.
used to be there a long
Lately.
time ago too.
Yeah, the late Liz.
Lately, of course I know the name
Yeah.
Lately.
I know you would.
My family used to be there a long time ago, but we moved out.
Mm, yes.
I'm talking 200 years ago, you know, but anyway, never mind.
But really, in my constituency, I'm sure the MP has no office. I've never seen it. Never heard of it.
No, there's an MP office, man. You know
Where?
who I'm with? Since you say you come from Enfield, I'm with somebody called Charlie Ross's niece.
Okay.
I don't know if you're old enough to remember that constituency was represented by Mr. Ross.
Yeah, man. No, I don't. I was very young at that time. Yeah. Mhm.
And before that, his father.
I know. Yes, it's a long stretch of rough.
Yes.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I'm just meeting this person and they're telling me that their uncle was the famous Mr. Ross from
Okay.
that constituency. But
Yeah.
no, they have an office. I'm trying to remember where it is, if it's near the fire station or if it's near the police station. But there is an office. I've seen it. As you drive through
Well,
Anatomy, you see it.
I have to check, but you have the labor office and you have the PNP office, but no MP office.
Oh, you see, you don't see an MP office.
No.
Well, I will have to stand corrected because you live there and you are from there, and for me, can only visit from time to time. So I will back off and give you the right in this case. But by law, I as a constituent, you as a constituent of that constituency should not have to go to a party office
My
to get your
sentiments.
business done.
My
You
sentiments.
must be able to
exactly.
go to the MP's office where nobody in there is wearing a green shirt or an orange shirt.
Sure. Yeah.
And you as a citizen can get your business done in a non-partisan Jamaican way.
The only MP I know that have an office is the leader of the opposition. No more.
Well, he does have a separate office
Yeah.
on West Kings House Road, but
Yeah.
I am saying that I have read that the MPs are supposed to have separate offices. Now, whether they take the money and pocket it and just use the party office, I don't know. But
Well,
I know
I
that in the
keep
budget
asking
of
this,
the country, money is approved for that.
I keep asking the question and nobody can give me an answer.
There you go.
Mm. So basically what I suspected and what you're saying is that even this election on Monday really make no sense.
Well, it makes sense in this sense. And it's very interesting to hear the denials and the accusations, because the Prime Minister is saying that the PNP is turning this local election into a surrogate national election. But it's the Prime Minister himself who is going around the country turning the local election into a referendum on his performance.
Of course, yeah.
Instead of campaigning on local issues, he's telling you about how unemployment is at its lowest level, which is a joke, and how inflation is contained. Of course, inflation has broken the targets for the last several quarters. And the national performance of the government is great. That's why I must vote for this local government person. He is the one who is promoting the election as a referendum on his thing. Give us another term, he's saying. Give for another term. It's not him that is up for election, it's the councillor. So why is voting for the councillor going to give him another term? No, what they are afraid of, you see, my brothers, Flavius, Courtney, and the audience, brothers and sisters, is that if the majority of the people turn out to vote in this election for the PNP, then they catch them afraid for what is going to happen in 1 year's time.
Yes.
Now, bet your life, if they win this by a landslide, next week, week after next week, get an announcement of a general election.
Yes.
They will feel that if they win the local by a far margin, this is the right time to call the general election. That's what is going to happen. But the reverse, I'm sorry to say, I know you're going to ask me this, so I'll bring it up from now. According to the polls that I trust, it seems that the popularity of the Prime Minister and the JLP is declining. And it's quite likely, I'm not saying it's going to happen because I'm not Nostradamus. It's quite likely that the PNP is going to pick up more votes this time than they did before. And that means that the JLP will say to themselves, Lord of mercy, we have a lot of work to do before we can call the general. And they will make more groundbreaking for this and that. Yesterday, I drove through Luana. I don't know if any of you gentlemen remember Luana. Luana in St. Elizabeth. Before one of the elections, who was it? Michael Manley went and broke ground for an oil refinery in Luana. And of course, after that, we never heard anything more about he won the election, but we never heard anything more about the oil refinery up to today. This is what every party in power does. When an election is about to happen, they break ground. Everywhere they break ground, they go and open the highway that runs past my house, that runs to Anato Bay, to Grand Bay. Even though the highway is not finished.
Oh, yeah.
Potholes all over, but they open it because the election is coming. So they have to open the highway because they don't want the other side to be able to say that they can't finish. But they can't finish. And then the other highway, which runs to Williamsfield and Mandeville, they open that one too. And up to now, they can't implement the toll. They said we'll let it, they'll open it in September, so we'll start to charge the toll at Christmas. Christmas come, they said 3 more months, because the road is not finished. but it's all political ploys to make it appear as if they are action, 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 or who is it? Portia used to say, we are working, working, working. But it's all a ploy, election ploy. And that's what you do when in a campaign. You break ground, you make announcements about what you're going to do. The Prime Minister goes to Moranbe and says, I'm going to do this. He then goes to Claremont. He says, where did he go the other day and say he's going to make the place into a city? You know? But of course, these are all the gimmicks. Now, what it also tells me, brothers and the sisters who are listening, is that politicians have a great contempt for the Jamaican people. You know? They think we are fools.
Oh, yes. Oh,
They
yes.
think we don't know what they're doing. You go around the place and make announcements. They think we believe them. So, and of course, we have to get to the point about the dropping of money, right? The buying of votes. We have to get to that. But the point is that the speeches on the platform, they really think that when they tell us that they're going to give us the sun, the moon, and the stars, that we believe them. But of course, we have a thing in Jamaica where they say you name them out and vote them out. And money is dropping left, right, and center. People are taking it. But what is going to happen on election day, we will wait until Monday night to see.
Yeah, just to divert a little bit, Peter, because I heard on the Jamaican local news that they're going to privatize garbage collection. I mean, what is your view on that? Because that definitely should be a parish council's job, you know, to control that people don't have to pay.
It is privatized now.
My brother, first of all, parish council used to control garbage collection. It is in the law. But once the government created the National Solid Waste Management Authority, it took it away from the parish councils.
Of course.
Oh.
It has not been with parish councils, sir, for decades.
Let me tell you.
When I was on the board of the NSWMA, I don't remember when, sometime in the 80s. Even in the 80s, the parish councils didn't control. The parish council appointed litter wardens. But the collection of garbage has been in the hands of the NSWMA and the regional organizations. Southwest Parks and Markets, Western Parks and Markets, Northeast Parks and Markets, for decades. Okay. So this business about privatize, what does that mean? First of all, they're not going to privatize. I didn't hear that. Maybe what they want to do is privatize the dumps. Because the dumps now, the thing about dumps, I call them dumps. They say they are landfills, but the truth is they are dumps. A lot of the garbage that ends up on the dumps is recyclable and has value. The plastic is one, the metal is another, the styrofoam is another, of course the paper and cardboard, even the leaves and the branches of trees and the wood chips and so on, all of that has value. Some years ago, when I was on the board of NSWMA, I went to Barbados, a beautiful little island, small, much smaller than very small place. So they couldn't have the garbage issue that we have because their island don't have anywhere to dump garbage like how we dump garbage all over the place. So they have a solid waste processing place where first of all, the people sort their garbage before it even gets to the dump. But once it gets there, trees, branches, leaves go one place. It is chipped up and ground into sawdust and things, and they use it for potting mixture to plant things in. The paper is recycled and they turn it out and make more paper again, because as you know, it's of cellulose.
Yeah.
The plastic, they're not big enough to, like not even like us, they bale it and export it to a plastic recycling plant overseas. So that actually they are a zero what's the word I'm looking for? They don't release anything into the environment. They don't burn
Yeah.
it. They
Right,
don't
yeah.
dump it in the rivers. Well, they don't have any rivers anyway. They don't dump it in the sea. What they do is they process their waste. Now, that is handled by a private company in Barbados. And the private company makes money because they sell these things. They also, well, I shouldn't say they don't burn it, because they have what is called a waste to energy plant, where a lot of the stuff that can burn, plastics and so on, are put into this machine, some kind of plasma machine that converts the garbage into plasma, which is then used to generate electricity. So in that way, they are net. They don't produce garbage as a country, whereas we have dumps all over the country. I'm trying to think that the one near to you in St. Mary would be by Buff Bay there,
Oh, yeah.
all around there again. Martin's something or the other. When you reach just before you get to Buff Bay, you make a left.
Yeah,
Martin's Hill, yes. And they just dump it. There's a tractor that's supposed to cover it with earth, and that's why they want to call it a landfill, but it's not really if you go there. And of course, scavengers are there picking the garbage to take from it what they want before, you know. So it's so I'm responding to what you thought you heard. I can't imagine, but you see, even if they privatize the collection of garbage, which I doubt they would, if they privatize that, our taxes, our land taxes pay for garbage collection. So it's that money they would use to pay the private person. It's that money they now use to pay themselves to do it. But also, I'll point out that the people that get cut right now, there are contractors, you know, who do it. The government owns some trucks, but basically they pay private contractors right now,
yeah,
to collect the garbage.
Oh, yeah.
When I was on the board of the NSWMA, the law says that there must be an environmentalist on the board. So I as an environmentalist, was invited to sit on the board, but of course I am not a party person, so I was not selected because I am a party activist, but everybody else there was party activists. And there was when the time came now to give the contracts for the collection of garbage, I was not involved in that. They formed a subcommittee, and the politics people went into the subcommittee and they chose the thing, and then they reported back to the board, of which I was, and they said, do the square and get this, and so on, so on, so on. And so all of these people, you looked at the contract, I said, right, one of them is party people get the contracts to collect garbage. And so it's a political thing. So I would imagine if they are going to privatize it, it's some political person they're going to privatize it too, just like they do now.
Yes.
Dodos had big contracts with them, you know, when I was on the board.
Oh, yes.
And Dodos is now by you, Courtney, somewhere in your place.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know how it is, you know, how the politics work and all of that. But back to this local government. So it would take some kind of constitutional law to change how local government operates then.
Well, right now, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but I believe I have heard people say that local government is not in the Constitution.
Oh.
So it is going to take constitutional reforms to put local government in there and to give the local government the power to tax. Is a major thing, because right now only central government can tax. Only the Minister of Finance can tax. So if you give the mayor of Lucy and the mayor of Morant Bay and in your case, the mayor of Port Antonio, sorry, you're in St. Mary, the mayor of Port Maria, the power to tax people. All of a sudden, the mayors have power.
Oh, yes.
They have money that they can collect and
Yes.
spend.
Yes.
I don't see the MPs doing that because it means they have less power. It means that the councillors don't have to go to the MP cap in hand for money. That's never going to happen. Our politicians don't give up power just like that. It has to be a revolution. We need another Sam Sharp or Paul Bogle before that will happen.
Yeah, but then with what you're talking about, then why have a local government? Because them don't have no responsibility.
They have responsibility.
They can't do anything.
And if you have, yeah, but so where's the accountability? Because I mean, they can't have accountability unless you have some kind of responsibility.
Courtney, man, you were not born yesterday. Is the Prime Minister accountable? Is the Minister of Education accountable for the fact that 60% of Jamaican children can't read and write? So if the MPs and ministers are not accountable, why you expect the councillors to be accountable? I don't know. I don't understand you, man. What kind of question is that you ask?
No. Well, let's provoke some conversation.
Well, you provoke me with that question because nobody is accountable in Jamaica for anything. You hear that? You hear that a man who is chairman of a company used company funds to fund travel overseas and to buy car and to put a charging port in his office, government office, to charge his electric car. And when it is exposed, him just disconnect the port, say him give back the money. Whether him give it back or not, you don't know. And that's the end of the matter.
Oh, yeah.
There's nobody accountable for anything. The only accountability is at the polls. And even so, money is dropping. You see, as my column that is coming out tomorrow in the Gleaner is going to say, the title that I sent it to Gleaner, they might change it. The title I sent is Political Polls Are Pointless. That's what I call it. Because what the political pollsters do is they go around and ask people, you going to vote? And say, yes, it's okay. You going to vote for? And then mark it down. Next person, you're going to vote? Who are you going to vote for? So they tell you what the people say they are going to do. However, what the politicians do is that they come to you and they visit your house, knock on your door, and they might give you a t-shirt and a cap and an armband. And when you open the t-shirt, you see a little something in there. Right? And the idea is that you are supposed to do something in return for the little something that was in the t-shirt. So you told the pollster that this is how you're going to vote, but then this man come with this little sweets for you. And it might very well change how you vote. But you see, it goes even worse than that. As I say in my column tomorrow, you must read it online. Because I can take the money from the politician. And when I go to the polling station now, them don't know what I do, who I vote for. So they're taking a gamble, you know, that if they give me a $10,000 and say, vote PNP or vote JLP, when I go in there, I'm actually going to do that. That is why the practice has been for people to come out of the polling station with the ballot waving in front of everybody. I finish a vote and I'm show everybody where the X is back. Well, that is now illegal. To do that, you get locked up. You can't do that again. Therefore, when you give me money to vote, you don't know if I really vote that way. So it is my understanding that the latest strategy is this, Courtney, Flavius, and the listeners. Rather than go to their supporters and give them money, They're going to the opposite side and give them money not to vote.
Not to vote, yes, yes, that is
Not to
big
vote.
now. Mhm.
So rather than the PNP paying PNP people to vote PNP, they are voting, they're going to JLP people, telling them don't turn up to vote. So you can guarantee, because you mark them present or absent, that if they don't turn up, that is one less vote for that party. But if they turn up, you don't know how to vote. So the strategy nowadays is not to pay people to vote. The strategy is to pay them not to vote. And that is why every election, less and less people are turning out to vote. People call it apathy. But a lot of it is not apathy. A lot of it because they are
Cash,
paid not to vote.
cash to care. Mhm.
So therefore, I don't know, but the question is who has more money? Does the PNP have more money than the JLP to pay the JLP people not to vote? Or does the JLP have more money than the PNP to pay the PNP people not to vote? That is why I hear Mark Golding get up on the platform last week and say, don't be a traitor to the party. And him don't explain what he mean by that, but everybody understand what that means. It means when them come to you with the money not to vote, don't take it. Because you see, unlike the vote amount, name amount and vote amount, the name amount and vote amount is you take the money from green and vote for orange. Or you take the money from orange and vote for green. But now this is a case where you take the money and don't vote at all. Now you can verify that, you know. If the person don't turn up on the day, you know they didn't vote. And so the money was well spent. But you see, what the parties do is they say, you stay at home, we will come and pick you up and transport you to the police station and carry you back home. So when you turn up on the man yard now, and the man is not there, whole day you're stopping by the man's house and he's not there, well, you know what is going on. The man has got money not to vote, and that's why you can't find him to transport him to the police station to vote. And we call this in Jamaica democracy. And we're a democratic country. Really? This is not any democracy. This is moneyocracy. That the party with the most money to pay the other side not to vote is the side that wins. But you don't have that in the United States. The Republicans and the Democrats don't pay people to vote or not to vote. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right about that.
And we love to copy the United States, but we're not copying that though. I think Mr. Trump is going to start copying us.
Wow, Peter. Well, if they give him that opportunity, he will.
Well, I hear that you all are going to do that, especially your state.
I'm
Yeah.
going to take it.
You're
I'm
not
not going.
answering.
I'm going to take it.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, well, what can I say about this thing? But it's really a sad situation, though, Peter. To have people who are supposed to be counselors, parish counselors, and yet still they are not doing anything. And they are collecting a salary because I know central government must pay them.
Yeah, but it's
No,
not them not doing anything.
they're not doing anything.
Yeah,
Because if they
They
don't go
can't.
to council meeting
they can't do
and they are
anything.
marked absent 3 times, them get kicked out.
Mhm.
So the very least they have to do is turn up to council meeting to be marked present. And they get the traveling and they get the stipend. So don't say they're doing nothing. That is what they are doing.
Okay.
But maybe that is what you are calling nothing.
No,
Because they can't deal with garbage. They can't deal with sewage. What they do also is they're supposed to approve building plans. And sometimes the files get lost and then the files are found again. I understand this is a money-making business where you can pay money to lose a file and you can pay money to find it back. And also, if you want a project to be approved and it's going to mash up the environment, you can pay for it to be approved. Or if you apply to build 15 one-bedroom apartments, you can get that approved and then build 22 bedroom apartments, and nobody going to say anything to you because the inspector not going to come. Or if the inspector comes from the parish council to see what you're doing, the inspector see and blind and say, I've inspected the place and everything is according to plan, when it is not so. So that is part of the problem, that the little functions that they are given to do, they are not doing it. There's corruption everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm not calling any names.
We're in a bad state. But
But
apart from
gentlemen, you have been calling me now for several years, and every time we speak, we're in a bad state.
yeah,
And I
Yeah.
suspect that if you call me 10 years from now and I'm still alive, we will still be in a bad state. What can be done to change it? That is the question.
Yeah.
well, the first thing we need to get rid of is the Westminster system.
You're right.
Without
But
that, we are doomed.
Well, that's not what is planned. What is planned is to get rid of King Charles
Yeah,
and to replace
know.
him with a
I know.
Jamaican king.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Which don't make any sense. You need to get rid of the system.
We will still have Westminster, but we will have a Westminster president
Model.
instead of a
Model.
Westminster governor
Yeah.
general.
Mhm. Until we change that, we have no chance at all. We'll not take all.
But who is
Rat
going to
race.
make that happen? The PNP is not proposing that.
No,
The JLP is not proposing that.
nope.
Only decent people like you and I are proposing that, but they're not
Yeah.
listening to me and you.
No.
They say they have come to consensus. The PNP and the JLP have sat down in a back room and have come to consensus. And that's all they're doing. When they come with a referendum now, we can say no. And that's why they don't call the referendum. They're afraid, because they're afraid,
Yeah.
like the last time, we're going to say no. And I have said it openly, that if it's any kangaroo business they are coming with, we're going to say no. I'm going to write in my column and advise my readers to say no.
Mhm.
And I'm sure you will tell your people that have a vote in your country, Courtney, to say no.
Yeah.
And maybe St. Mary will say no, I hope.
Yeah. No, that is how we have to understand that that is our only hope. We can't keep going as we're going now. We move from one set to the other set, but it's the same system we have in place. And you have this, I mean, how much money they said this local government election costing? Some billions of dollars? For what?
Well, costing who? Costing the EOJ or costing the parties?
Not the EOJ, no. To run the election.
It
To
costs
run the
money,
election.
but it's not. I mean, that is a minor part of the cost. The major part of the cost is the T-shirts, the caps, the
Oh, yeah.
armbands, and the sweetness that goes into the T-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
Somebody's making a lot of
and
money.
then the money that you have to pay people to stay home. Now,
Mhm.
where do the parties get that money from? They get it from people like Courtney and Flavius, who donate money to the PNP and the JLP. And then they take that money that you donate and bribe the voters. Now, if you decided you're not giving to the parties anymore, then they can't do that anymore. So in a sense, the private sector holds the handle, since they control the purse.
Oh, yeah.
But you see, the private sector likes it that way. Because after Courtney and Flavius give their donation, they are going to expect something in return.
Of course.
Right, Courtney and Flavius?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
Definitely.
So that's how the system runs. It's a transactional system. Everybody pays and gets something in return.
Except the people at the lowest level, they pay but get nothing in return. That's the
No, they
problem.
get, man, they get curry goat, they get white rum, they get
One
a
day.
drive out, they get a drive
One
out
day.
on a bus stop
Mhm.
or hanging out the window,
Mm.
and they get to sing and dance. They get party. That's what a political party means, by the way.
Oh,
And
Ah.
the man can look woman and the woman can look man.
Mhm.
so them just take away the political and just say, yes, let's have a party.
Party, yeah. Mhm.
There you go.
It's party time. And you better believe it, it's 24/7 having party now until the election is completed.
So in the meantime, Flavius, Courtney, and the listeners, where are the manifestos? Where is the list of issues that the PNP is fighting the election on? If we win, this is what we're going to do. And the JLP say, if we win, if you vote for me, this is what we are going. Where are the manifestos? Today's is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So 5 days to go for the election. Neither party has published any manifesto.
And they say they have it ready. That's what
They say it's ready, but you see, elections in Jamaica are not fought on issues
No.
because we are all idiots. They are the only ones with ideas. We don't have no idea. All we have is a vote. And if they give us enough white rum and curry goat, we will vote the way they want because that's where we have our brains by our navels. And we vote according to belly.
Mhm.
That's what they think of us. They have not told us what the issues are that they stand for. Contempt. They have contempt for the people.
I will agree with you.
So what is
100%.
your thinking on that? Because can you attribute that to the literacy level of the people?
Well, let us say that they issued the manifestos in print and people can't read it. At least they have something to point to speak to. When you have a debate, a political debate, and the PNP debating the JLP and the JLP debating the PNP, at least the debaters can say, see my manifesto here, this is what we stand for. I am debating you on this. But they don't have any manifesto. So there's no issue. So even if people are illiterate and can't read the manifesto, at least the debaters have a piece of paper to wave and say, this is what we stand for.
Mhm.
But neither side has issued a manifesto. They have had two political debates where basically one side says, look at how wonderful we are over the last so much years. Look how great we are. And the other side says, you're corrupt. And if you vote for us, we will do better. And the other side said, no, you're worse corrupt because we come and find it corrupt. And then they say, well, before that, we come and find it corrupt. And in the end, everybody says how wonderful they are and how bad the other side is. And up to now, we don't know which side is better because the two of them are the same. Now, if there was a manifesto, we could look at it and say, I like this idea better than that idea. I think this party is better. But then, you know, brethren and sisters, the last election, I keep all the manifestos going back. And I look at, when the election coming, I look at the last manifesto and see how much they never did. They said they were going to do and don't do. So even if they publish a manifesto, there's no guarantee they're going to implement what is in it. What election was it? 96 election, they said they were going to close the Riverton dump and have the dump somewhere else. We still have the Riverton dump.
Oh yeah.
They say they're going to create how much national park, marine park, they don't do it. I can go through the manifestos. I can put it up on the screen and show you. Year after year after year, PNP come in, they ignore their manifesto. JLP come in, they ignore their manifesto. So the manifesto makes no difference. But at least you see, there will be a pretense that we are fighting the election based on ideas. There would at least be a pretense. Even though they're not going to do it, they're not going to implement it. But we don't have a manifesto, so there can't be a pretense. They have no pretense that they're actually going to do anything. So 4 years from now or 5 years from now, when they don't do anything, they will say, but we never told you we would do anything. We never gave you a manifesto, so you can't say we didn't do it. Because we never said we were going to do anything. We never committed in writing to do anything. So things bad out of grass.
Pretty interesting.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes. There's always strategy, in place somewhere. Because it's amazing, less than a week to go and no manifesto, although they came on here and say, yes, we have it and we're going to put it out next week.
In a few days. We're going to put it out in a few days.
Yeah.
More than a few days gone. We still don't see any manifesto. But the other side said, well, we're not putting out ours because all you're going to do is thief our ideas.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that's true.
So you put out yours first and then we will thief yours. So nobody puts out any. Isn't it a wonderful country we live in, gentlemen?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What part of Jamaica are you from, Courtney?
Well, I used to live in Portmore, but I have to
ask you.
Kingston. Eh?
That's what part I want to ask you which part you come from.
Yeah, well, Kingston.
Which part of Kingston you come from?
Well, I was born in Almontown and grew up in Jonestown.
All right, so you're in my part of town.
Places. Eh?
When you say Jonestown, you're in my part of the city. As you know, I'm still at St. Anne's Church in Hannahtown, Denhamtown. This is your area.
Well, I used to play scrimmage on Church Corner.
Really?
Yeah, man.
The open land right there, yeah, man. Well, so I'm glad that you gentlemen are, well, at least in your case, Courtney, you're not in Jamaica, but you still have your love for your country at heart. And you, Flavius, in St. Mary, and the Enfield bush and Juniper bush.
Oh, yeah.
41 doesn't stop you from loving the country. I drove through there the other day. I didn't know you were there.
Okay.
I must say I have noticed any difference between in Enfield, Juniper from 41 around the corner by I went to May River. I couldn't even get to the May River school.
Okay.
The road cut off and they don't fix it. I went around to the other side to Tinsbury.
Tinsbury, yeah.
And I said, well, at least I can drive to Tinsbury. But I don't notice any big improvement in that part of St. Mary, my brother Flavius.
Nothing has changed. Nothing. Nothing at all. I mean, we have over the years, we have had some weak politicians. And I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Yes, quite so. And you, Courtney, you're part of of Jamaica, the same Jonestown, Hannahtown, Denhamtown. What changes have you observed in the last 40 years?
Now, from the pictures I've seen, you know, I mean, the conditions have gotten worse.
And everybody's saying what a wonderful job they're doing. When we were in power, it was like this. Look over the last 7 years, progress, prosperity. Anyway.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so well, since we have come to the close and the end, and you know, just want to thank you very much, Reverend Peter Espeut, for being with us. I was truly enlightened, you know, by this conversation. And you know that surely we'll talk again on this platform. So, Flavius, final words.
Yeah, just thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Of course, you know, your great knowledge has enlightened us again and our listeners. We thank you very much.
Gentlemen, the pleasure is mine, and anytime you call and I'm available, I'll be happy to speak with you. God bless you all, and God bless your families.
Wonderful.
And I wish for you a happy and holy Lent as we prepare for the coming season of Easter. Blessings upon you all.
Yeah, blessings to you too.
Thank you too, sir.
Thank you very much. Bye.
You lead us song fulla. You belong far away away. Ajuguala lebabu seru. Leader mua, leader song fulla. Leader mua, leader song fulla.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
All you gotta do is just speak. One word is enough, and I'm no longer so rough. I forget what I was trying to say. I no longer do what I was gonna do, but you're no good for me. That's why me know set me if it could flee. Me I fi take away me say. Me I fi take away me say. Me I fi hide like a thief in the night. Me I fi get out of sight.